Hello, class. This section is on using switch in menu systems. Okay, it says the switch statement is a natural mechanism for building menu systems. Okay, we can recall that a previous program gave a menu to select when they had the help club, and we had to select whether it was an adult, a child, or senior citizen. All right. The program uses if statements to determine which package the user has selected and displayed the calculated charges. So let's look at program 4-7, or 4-27. All right. It's modified so that the program using the switch statement is used instead of the if. So if we look at this program, same exact program like we looked at previously or earlier in this chapter, where we had the choice and then months as in, and then we had charges as double, but then we had these constant variables. We had adult, which was the amount of the membership fee for adult, child, and the amount of the child's fee, and senior, and the amount of the senior citizen fee. But then remember, we had a constant variable for the actual choice, right? The adult choice was 1, and it was constant. Child choice was 2. Senior choice was 3, and our option to quit the menu or the program was 4. Okay, and this information here displays our menu, Health Club membership menu, and then 1 standard adult membership, 2 child membership, 3 senior citizen membership, 4 quit the program. And then we prompted the user to enter the choice, and then we did CN choice. So depending on which option they wanted, they would input 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then it would actually go through the process. Before it was the if statement, it would go through the if statement and calculate and give you the total. Now we're using the switch. So what happens is, based on the value we input, 1, 2, 3, or 4, if it's 1, notice we have switch choice. And then we have our beginning of our block, and that's the end of our block for the switch. Okay. Now, case adult choice. Remember, adult choice was set, and it was a constant variable, and it was equal to 1. So if choice was 1 and case choice, adult choice, which means 1, and this is 1, then it would perform these series of statements. And then what? We have the break statement, so that would kick us out of the switch statement. Okay. If we had entered a 2, adult choice was 1, so it skipped that one. It didn't match. Okay. The child choice was 2, so that would match, and then it would perform or execute each one of these statements and then break on out of the switch. And then for the senior citizens, if 3 was typed in, entered, then it would be a match here, and then it would perform these statements and then break on out. And then if 4 was entered, and we had quit choice, which was a constant value variable, and it was equal to 4. So if 4 was entered for choice and it matched quit choice, which was 4, then it would say program ending. All right. And if you didn't enter any, it didn't enter 1, 2, 3, or 4, you would get the default, which would be the valid choices are 1 through 4. Run the program again and select one of those. Okay, so that's pretty much what the program will do. So if we look at this example here, we see once the program is executed, we got our title of our menu, which is Health Club membership. menu. And then we'd have 1, standard adult membership, 2, child membership, 3, senior citizen membership, 4, quit the program. And then we would have, we would be prompted with enter your choice. So what they're asking you, if you enter the choice, if you type 2 and hit enter, and then you typed in the number of months, and that was 6. So what would happen is, I think child membership was what, $30 or $20. So what happens is, then it would say 6 times the time the 20 would give you the 120. So that would be your charge. Okay. So let's look at a program in online GDB. All right. So what I've done, rather than just do a program that's going to execute some statements, I did it with the if, and we'll come back and I'll do the case. But the if and the case work basically the same. But case statement kind of makes it a little more clearer, because you got all these if, else, ifs, and then you got to keep track of these the open and close curly braces. But it does work. So let's look at this. So we have a program that have choice as an int, and it's set to 0. Okay. Then we have cn or c. Well, first of all, let's go up. All right. First of all, we have a constant integer called quota. Okay, is equal to 3. All right. Well, that's not even part of the program. That's from another program, but we have that in there. That's no relevance. But look here, we have function prototypes. So if you look at this, what? We have our main function. All C++ programs must start with a main function. But if we look here, we got a void add numbers, void subtract numbers, void multiply numbers, and void divide numbers. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 additional functions that I'm actually defining. I'm not defining, but declaring, so I can use in my program. Okay, so I got my main plus these 4 programs that's going to be involved in this program. So I have int num1, num2, and then total. All right, this program, I've written this program, and what it does is it's going to allow you to input 2 numbers. Once the 2 numbers are inputted, you're going to be prompted with a screen asking you to choose what do you want to do with those 2 numbers. Do you want to add them together? Do you want to multiply them? Do you want to subtract? Or do you want to divide? Okay, so that's basically what this program is written to do. All right, so let's look through it. So we got our variables, num1, which we're going to input, num2, which we're going to input, and total is what we're going to calculate. Now, if you notice, num1, num2, and total are what type variables? All right, they are global variables. So we're not going to be dealing with passing any arguments. Okay, so they are global. We're just trying to understand the switch statements right now. But and later on in the semester, we'll be working with passing arguments. Okay, so int main. All right, so now int choice equals 0. So choice is going to be our variable where we're going to input from our menu, whether we're going to choose option 1, 2, 3, 4, and in this case 5. All right. So choice, we setting choice to 0. So now we're saying C out enter first number, and then CN num1. C out enter second number. Then we do a CN num2. So here's where we input num1 and num2. They're stored into those 2 variables. So now, at this point, if you see this here, this simply just clears my screen, okay? It's gonna actually remove the cout statement or cout prompt, and then the cn of the num1, the cout prompt, and the input of num2. And so you're going to just have a clear screen with menu main menu, and then you have the asterisk beneath it. Then you have 1 period, add numbers, 2 period, subtract numbers, 3 period, multiply numbers, 4 period, divide numbers, 5 period, exit, and then enter choice. Okay, so now this will display our menu. Okay, now here is our logic. Okay, our if logic is not the switch, but this says what? If choice equal 1, then what we want to do, we want to call add numbers. Okay, this calls the function by just simply typing out the function. We don't have any arguments because our what? Prototype, we're not passing any arguments. Okay, normally here you would have the data types of the variables you would be passing. All right, so but at this time, we're just calling the functions because our variables are what? Global. So if we look here, it's calling add numbers. So the program is going to look to find add numbers. We see here where add numbers is being defined, okay? Meaning it's telling us what's going to be done in add numbers. So what we're going to do, we're going to take num1 and num2, add them together, and store the value in total. Then we're going to see out the sum of, and then num1 plus num2 equals, and then whatever that total is. And notice we got a function for subtract, to subtract the numbers, and look, num1 minus num2, and then we're going to output the total. We got a function to multiply the two numbers, num1 times num2, and then store in the total, and then we print out num1, num2, and the total. But then look at the divide numbers function. In this function, we had to what? Add an if statement. Okay, why is that? Because remember when we looked at a program earlier, a number divided by 0 is what? Undefined. So we have to kind of protect our program so that it won't blow up or give us incorrect data or lock up. So we need to what? Check to see if the num2, because if we look at our expression here, num1 is divided by num2. So we need to make sure that num2 is not what? 0. So we ask the question, if num2, remember we just checking to see if it exists. It could be positive, it could be negative, but it can't be 0. Anything other than 0 would say make this false, remember? So if num2, okay, meaning it's anything other than a 0, we're going to do num1 divided by 2 and then get whatever that total is, and we're going to output the total. But you also need to remember all these variables are integer. So if I divide 10 by 3, I'm going to get 3. I won't get 3.333 because what? Everything here is int, okay? Even our total, we made it int. So, but don't worry about that. We done covered how to promote our variables, okay? So now, so if it's anything other than 0, it's going to perform the division, and it's going to give us an answer. But if num2 is 0, all right, then it will come down here and say problems cannot be a problem, or just say problem cannot be solved. Take that off. Problem cannot be solved. No number is divisible by 0. Okay. All right. So let's look at this again. So we got add numbers, which is a function. Okay, else if choice is equal to 2, we're going to perform subtract number. Okay, numbers. Else if choice equal 3, we're going to perform multiply number. Else if choice equal 4, we're going to perform divide numbers. Else if choice equal 5, we're going to perform we're going to exit. All right, we exit in the program. But if it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we're going to say else invalid choice. So see how we have all these levels of ifs. So, but we're gonna run it and see. But then we'll put the the switch code in there. So let's run this. Okay, we run the program. Hopefully, all of the errors are taken out. All right. So see here we have enter first number. So say we enter 10 and hit enter. All right. Say we enter 3. Okay, and hit enter. Now, we have 10 and 3 stored in num1 and num2, but notice how I cleared the screen. So that command just simply cleared my screen to give me a clear screen with nothing else on it. The user is not confused and have everything that just dealing with this menu. So if I type, it says enter choice. 1, add the numbers. 2, subtract the numbers. 3, multiply the numbers. 4, divide the numbers. And 5, exit. So say let's add the numbers, okay? So we'll choose 1. So what? 10 plus 3 gonna give us what? 13. So we hit enter. And look, it says the sum of 10 plus 3 equals 13. All right, let's run it again. Let's subtract, okay? So we see how it does work, all right? 10 and 3. All right, then we do 2 to subtract. See? Now it says what? The difference of 10 minus 3 is 7. So it is performing our if logic correctly so far. So let's do it again. And this time we'll do a 3. All right. 10 times 3 should give us what? 30. All right. So that works. And let's do the next one. In a 10, in a 3, and we do the divide, which is 4, hit enter, and what? We got 3 because this is integer, so it will yield what? An integer value, and also total is declared as int. All right, so one more test, let's just run it. Okay, let's put a number, 10 and 3, and we say, well, I don't want to do that, so we'll do a 5, and we exit. Okay, so now, so that logic works, and hopefully you understand that logic. So what I'll do here, I'll remove this logic. Okay, well, it's the if logic. So I'll remove this if logic from here. All right, that's the if logic. And what I'll do, I had the switch logic. Take this logic here, which is the switch logic, and I'll copy this and paste it here. So now look what I've done. Now notice you don't have all those levels. Remember with the switch statement, you got switch and whatever that choice is. All right, we're using choice. So it's gonna take choice and compare it to 1. Take and try to match it at least. Take choice, try to match it to 2. Take choice and try to match it to 3. Take choice and try to match it to 4. And take choice and try to match it to 5. Okay, so now, and notice you don't have all them levels. If it's 1, we're doing this and what? Break. If it's 2, we're doing this. We calling that function, we breaking. If it's 3, we performing this function, multiply numbers, and then we breaking up. Then 4, if it's 4, we performing divide numbers, and then we breaking out. And if it's 5, we just doing system exit and we breaking. All right, system exit, that's just a command, a Unix command saying exit the actual program. Okay, so now let's look at this. So basically everything is the same, it's just that we added what? Our switch logic. So notice here we got the open curly brace, close curly brace. So that's the body of the switch. And then what? Our default value, invalid choice. So let's run this, and we should get the same, pretty much same results. Run it. Okay. Notice it say enter first number. Enter the first number. I could do the same numbers, 10 and 3. Same menu. Now you got to understand, The switch, the information we put for the switch is the only information that was changed, and that's just the if logic. The menu, that's exactly like it was when we had the if. Your functions, they all are defined exactly like they were when we had the if statements, right? So we only thing we are dealing with or changed was the actual logic for the if, and we've changed the if to switch. So now we put in 10 plus 3, we get 13, right? So, and I'll just do two more. I'll do the multiply. I'll do the divide this time, and I'll do 10 and 0. So now, if I put 0, all right, and I hit enter, but then I want to do a division, all right, I'll say 10 divided by 0, that's an undefined number. But remember, I put in my logic if num2. So if num2 is anything other than 0, it will divide it and give me my results. But if it's equal to 0, which is in this case it is, it should give us that prompt about number cannot be divided by 0. So let's do a 4, and we hit enter, and see, problem cannot be solved. No number is divisible by 0. All right. So that's pretty much the program with the case logic. So if you see, if you like I said, we had our if logic. This is our case logic, and like I said, we got our break. Because if I wouldn't have had a break on the on case 1, if I took this break off and it was and I did type a 1 to do an add, it would do add and subtract, because what, it'll fall in here and do all the statements until it see a break. Okay, so remember that, keep that in mind. Okay, so this ends this section. All right.